Okay, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order, the regular meeting of the City of Brunswick, Brunswick Housing Authority. Call to order now. We will begin, before we do the agenda, we'll begin with the swearing-in ceremony for our new Commissioner, Mr. Collins.
Collins, if you would place your hand on the Bible, and I'll administer the oath. If you'll just repeat after me. I, Clement Collins,
I, Clement Collins,
having accepted an appointment to serve as Commissioner of the Housing Authority, City of Brunswick, do hereby swear or affirm that I shall abide by the laws, rules, and regulations which govern the operation of housing authorities in the state of Georgia, and that I shall endeavor during my tenure to serve the low-income citizens of my community by providing safe, sanitary, and affordable housing this 11th day of January 2023. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Alabama folks can do it all.
At least y'all kept in this AFCC. How about that?
That's right. And I have given Commissioner Cullen a copy of the conflict of interest policy, the confidentiality agreement, and the handbook for commissioners. So after he's had a chance to look those over, he'll sign those and we'll get those to Ms. Curry for the record.
Okay, great. All right, I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
Motion that we accept the agenda. A second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to accept the agenda, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion? I'd like to amend it, and as far as the delegation, Mr. Tim Murphy has been in contact with me with the Realtor Association. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the Golden Isles Association of Realtors.
Okay, and we're just gonna, if you guys don't mind, we're just gonna give him about 3 minutes to introduce himself and speak before House of Hope. I think they have a pretty decent lengthy presentation. That's my amendment to add as a part of our delegation, Mr. Murphy.
Realtors Association.
I think it's a realtor association.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'll just need a second on that.
Second.
Okay, so the motion to amend the agenda and add Mr. Murphy was motioned by myself, seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to amend, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Now we need to vote on the actual agenda. So is there any further discussion on the agenda? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, have the same. That motion passes unanimously. We will now have a moment of silence, and then we'll move on to the KPAC report from Corporal Wright. All right, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
We voted on not to say prayers anymore?
Yes, we're not allowed to say prayers.
Who said that? We didn't vote on that, did we? We didn't vote on that.
We're not allowed to say them anymore.
Well, we didn't vote on that.
We cannot. We'll have a discussion about that a little bit later. Corporal Wright, you want to give us our KPAC report, please?
Good morning.
Morning.
I'll be reading a December monthly report for each housing area. Abbott Andrews had a number of calls of 18, 3 reports, juvenile problem, child abuse, and domestic. Brooklyn Annex had 3 calls, no report. Brooklyn Homes North, 28 calls, 1 report, which was a problem with person. Brooklyn Homes South, 9 calls, 1 report, runaway juvenile. Mercer Alabama had 25 calls and 0 reports. McIntyre Court had 58 calls, 5 reports, juvenile problem, a trespassing, assault, child abuse, and domestic. Glenville had 29 calls, 6 reports, domestic, fraud, warrant process, which was an arrest was made, problem person, suspicious, and a follow-up. Hopkins Homes Annex had 1 call, and that was a theft. Hopkins Homes had 29 calls, 8 reports. It was 4 domestics, which led 1 was an arrest, damage to property, child abuse, fraud, and suspicious. Also attached was, I made a chart for the different costs for December and November. Did y'all get one?
Yes.
Okay. Is that better?
I mean, the other way was better. All we had to do was keep the previous month, but that's
Okay.
fine. Whoever wanted it.
I appreciate the graph. It does kind of give us an idea, at least on a month-to-month basis, the calls and reports up and down, or I should say month-over-month reflection. Looks like we had a number of them go down in the month of December
Oh,
between the calls and overall reports.
Yes. We have any questions?
Back at typo was 58%.
58 calls.
Yeah, 58
Yes,
calls.
58 calls.
Was child abuse also in that?
Yes, it was a child abuse.
That's been resolved.
Yes.
Any further questions for Corporal Wright? Thank you, Corporal Wright. We appreciate it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. You have a good day.
you have the best one. Thank you.
Moving on to delegations, we'll now have Mr. Tim Murphy. We'll give him about 3 minutes to speak, introduce himself and speak, and I think he'll come back at a different time with a presentation.
Good morning. I am the 2023 chair from the Housing Opportunity and Diversity Committee with the Golden Isles Association of Realtors. And part of our purpose is to expand housing opportunities. So what I've been doing is going and meeting and connecting with different organizations in the community that address issues around housing. And we're encouraging collaboration among organizations that provide similar services. One of our partners, which you know, is Millicent Cross. She's with Totally Free. Millicent Cross with Totally Free. And she's one of our partners who's helping with the home ownership aspect of it. And we're having a home buyer workshop this Saturday at the library from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'll be in touch, and I kind of want to just learn something about your process here, sitting in the meeting. Yes.
What's your name again, sir?
Tim Murphy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Murphy. We appreciate that. Will you make sure you exchange information with Mr. Baker so that you guys can do whatever it is that you guys do?
Okay.
Next on the agenda is House of Hope Refuge of Love, presentation by Ms. Yoshi Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Yoshi Jones. I am the CEO and Executive Director of House of Hope. And that is where we house young ladies from ages 12 to 18. We do have a license. So I have a PowerPoint that I just want to go through. I don't know how many minutes I have, so I will talk fast. So basically what we are 501c3. We house young ladies that are victims of human and sex trafficking. We house them from the ages of 12 to 18, and we are licensed through the state. So we're considered a CCI. So that is basically a child care institute. So if we can go to the next slide. So here, I do have some one-pagers that I would love to pass out. So we are a therapeutic program. So we try to make sure that we cover everything with the young ladies. Our program is so unique that we're well sought out for. So right now I have a waiting list and we house young ladies up to, our license just got revised, so we now are able to house young ladies up to 11. So we have 11 beds right now. So right now we know that we can't fit anymore in the house unless we build out. So because of the uniqueness of our program, we do have a lot of the caseworkers that are seeking us out. They want our services, but we just don't have enough room. So with that, a lot of our young ladies, when they leave our program, they also still reach out to us. So that's what we're trying to figure out, how to continue to help these young ladies. Can we go to the next slide, please? So we do have an accredited curriculum. So right now, just to add in there, right now at 1603 Albany Street, we are building a school right now. So we're going through our accreditation program. So with that, we have the school actually is going to be a brick and mortar for pre-K. It's a performing arts academy. So it will be, that's a way for us to kind of balance out the help and the services that we're able to give to House of Hope. So we figured that we kind of build a sister organization and help us. So it's a performing arts academy which will be able to service 4 through 17. Also with our digital learning program, because we have an accredited digital learning program for ages K through 12. And so we do offer the parenting classes, and that's a Reality Works program that we have, where we have a simulated baby that we kind of bring on, because a lot of times the young ladies that are victims, they do come in pregnant. We just accepted a pregnant youth, not think at the age of 15. So they come to us pregnant, so our goal is to try to teach them how not to be young mothers. So we put them with a baby that cries through the night, cries in the morning, cries when it's wet, so they actually go through that program. And so, and then we have our individualized education plans. So right now, usually what happens is our girls are usually at school, they attend school with us in the home, but we've stretched it out. So this is the first time that we've allowed them to attend public school. And so we also teach a CSEC curriculum. So we teach CSEC awareness. Even though these young ladies are victims of human and sex trafficking, we try to teach them all the signs, what happens, even though they've been through it, because a lot of times they come to us and they don't even know that they've been trafficked. Can we have the next slide, please? So as I said, we go through trauma-informed therapy. We have CSEC specific recovery, because those are things that we have to discuss. Two things that we know what happens with these young ladies that go hand in hand is drug addiction and sex addiction. So that's why the therapeutic piece is so important, because we have young ladies that are they're sex addicts. So we have to deal with that within the house, because we have a lot of different components that happen with that. So we definitely have to make sure that we're coordinating in that way as far as the recovery piece. And we also have the drug addiction. So a lot of them don't realize that they're addicted until they come into our program as well. So we try to make sure that we cover those services as well. And so basically what we're doing right now over on 4th Street, we are in the process of opening a independent living program. And that is where we will house the young ladies. We're hoping to house the young ladies that graduate our program, that they will go into the IOP program. So my only thing, and this is just my quirk, with DFACS, they let them go into a program, independent living program, but they're not really ready. So what we know is that we have a young lady now that we got graduated. We pushed her through. It was hard, but we pushed her through. She's now in her own apartment, and she's now attending Albany State University. So that's a really big win. So we're excited about that. So what I thought about was, so how do we continue doing this with these young ladies that leave our program? So when they do leave our program, we said we need to have something here in Brunswick, because they go so far away, that we can continue to give them services. So that's what the independent living program is. So now DFACS has now awarded where they can do congregated living. So we're excited about that, because they weren't doing congregated living before. So some of my conversations were, how do we get them into apartments? But the thing is, with the congregated living, they're only able to do that for 1 year. So I'm asking, my ask today is, how do we partner together in getting them housing, because they can stay in the program for a year, but after they graduate, they have to go into their own apartment. They can go into a shared housing situation, but we're trying to figure out how to make that happen. So we're opening up the program, which we should be open. We're actually going through our paperwork right now and going through our licensing and everything right now so that we can open the home up. That home will house 5 young ladies. So we will house them for 5 years, continuing to be able to give them independent living skills, a little more strategic, because right now we can only do so much because our program is an MWO, so they're kind of like at that base where everybody's treated the same. But when you go into an independent living program, we're teaching them the more young adult skills, right? And how to work, how to maintain a job, those sorts of things. But after that year, they have to go into their own apartment per DFACS. So this is where we need help with having the housing for them to be able to do that. And DFACS will pay their rent. They will pay their rent. They actually take care of them up until 21 plus, because they take care of certain things up to age 26. So our goal is that we don't want to see any of them homeless. And most of the times they go back to the street because that's the case. So that's what we're looking for. We also we launched a non-collegiate sorority. So we did that because we wanted to figure out how do we keep a bond with these young ladies and keeping them accountable. It's open for us as well because we are mentors. We are the village. So we always hear that it takes a village. We are the village. So we created the sorority so that we can be that village, and young ladies like myself, young ladies like you all, that can come into the sorority and become mentors to these young ladies. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to say congratulations. There's 2 things that I want to get into today. Give Ms. Christine Curley, you know, House Council. You all have access, to our Collegiate Network, which is about 9 HBCUs and 26 D1 schools. And so I'm familiar with this service coming out of Atlanta and Chattanooga. So we can do that. And then also, we need to do that quick because we got some people maybe coming through the system and things of that nature. And we go ahead and get them funded and deal with this. We'll talk about occupational and also Collegiate Network. And then we'll love to work to extend our service, and we have a relationship with the outside for people employment. So we just love the partnership with this type of partnership. Yeah, we're open to that. Yes, ma'am.
So what specific funding are you looking for from us? Are you looking for funding from us?
Actually, what we're looking for is we need housing. So we need housing. We're always looking for funding, but the most important thing for us is we need housing. My heart is not to see these young ladies homeless, and right now there's a lot of young ladies that are homeless, and then they turn back into trafficking. Mm-hmm. So now it's because our conversation was, why do we go back to what we were put into?
Yeah.
And so the answer was because we found a way to make money and to survive.
So are you trying to put them into Section 8 or public housing?
Whichever one we can. We just want to make sure that at the end of that year, that we can supply them with some kind of housing service.
And the best way to do that, one of the ways to do that is constantly be on our Housing Authority website, and then the newspaper advertises when we are open applications for people to come in. And you can do it that way, fill out an application, because there's only certain times of the year that the door is open for us to accept applications and get more people in.
Now, is that for that Section 8?
Yeah. It's for Section 8 in public housing.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Jones, for that presentation, and again, congratulations for your graduate there at Valdosta. That's an amazing achievement. I wrote down a couple of notes on there, and I'll speak with everyone offline on a couple of ideas I think may work. Probably leaning toward our LOU structure in moving forward, since you said that DFAX will pay for housing.
Yes, sir, they pay their rent.
Until
They
they're
pay their
21.
rent and their utilities.
Until they're 21.
You may want to look at something along those lines, which may make it a little bit easier to house with the specific requirements that are necessary. Any further questions for Ms. Jones? All right, again, thank you, Ms. Jones, we really appreciate it. And thank you for the work that you do with those
Thank you
women.
so much.
Yes.
We're very grateful.
Yes.
Moving on into old business. Commissioners, how do you want to do it? Do you want to do it all at once, or do you want to take them one by one?
Individually.
Individually. All right, so we have approval of the minutes of the special call meeting held on December 12, 2022. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special call meeting held on December 12, 2022.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve it. I'll second it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the minutes of the special call meeting held on December 12, 22, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, have the same. You want to abstain?
I will abstain from all three.
Next up, we have approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on December 14, 2022. I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion we approve. I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on December 14, 2022, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, there's a correction that needs to be made.
We have a correction from Madam Vice Chair Bailey. Go ahead, Madam Vice Chair Bailey.
Yes, on the minutes, Commissioner Dobson is not listed as present, and he's in the body of the minutes. And going forward, whenever we make any changes to the minutes or anything, please email us a copy after the meeting, sometimes after the meeting, so we know that the changes were made.
I need a second for Madam Vice Chair's motion to amend the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion by Madam Vice Chair to amend the minutes with her corrections, seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? All in favor of changes or the corrections with the amended corrections, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, have the same. Still abstaining. Okay, and now we need so now we need to actually approve the regular minutes. So all those in favor of approving the minutes of the regular meeting held on December 14th with the amendments and corrections, please say aye.
Aye.
Those have the same. And an abstention by Commissioner Cullins. That motion passes. Next up, we have approval of the minutes of the special call meeting held on December 19, 2022. I will entertain a motion.
Motion that we approve it. A second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the minutes of the special call meeting held on December 19, 2022, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, have the same. And an abstention by Commissioner Cullins. Thank you.
Before moving on, I have something to say. It's not listed here, and in the email that you sent out yesterday, we had a meeting on December the 20th, and the minutes are not here on
What
this.
meeting
They're
was that?
approved with the Boys and Girls Club.
Was that a board meeting?
You scheduled it. Mr. Dickerson and I was there, December the 20th.
I didn't schedule a Boys and Girls Club.
Yes. You scheduled a Boys and Girls Club meeting with Mr. Dolan.
No,
And
you scheduled that meeting.
I asked for it back in August, Chairman Kitts, but it was scheduled, a meeting was set up, and we went, but the minutes aren't here. That's
Was
all I'm
it a-
asking.
Was it a board meeting or a special call meeting where there were 3 or more commissioners present?
Listen, Ms. Curry took minutes. We had a meeting, and you know we had a meeting because you set it up. So, it's no minutes here from it.
Madam Vice Chair,
Yes.
was the meeting an official
I don't
advertised board
listen.
meeting?
Was it advertised?
Was
I
it
don't know.
official- Was there 3 or was there a quorum of the Board of Commissioners present at your meeting? with the
So,
Boys and Girls
because it
Club?
wasn't a quorum, it's a lack that we can't have the minutes.
I did not say that,
No, it was only 2 of us there.
okay?
You know that, because Commissioner Dickerson was there and I was there.
Okay. Did you have
Ms. Bacon.
did you have someone take minutes for you?
Ms. Curry, did you take the minutes for December the 20th?
I did not,
But you were in that meeting.
and I did not.
It was a meeting, you met with the Boys and Girls, you and Commissioner Dickerson met with the Boys and Girls Club,
Yes.
and
So why
that's
wasn't?
fine. If you want minutes, those would be whatever you have, but it wasn't an official board meeting, so I'm not sure if we need
But it was a
have-
necessary meeting. Okay. The camera was there, Ms. Curry was there, and I thought minutes was taken. So any meeting we have from now on, minutes should be taken, so we can refer back to them. Okay?
We'll look into.
And,
seeing if
because I don't know
that's-
why you weren't there, you were the chair.
It was not a meeting for me to attend.
As the chairman, you should attend all Brunswick Housing Authority meetings.
As a chair, I should attend all
Okay.
Brunswick Housing Authority
Mhm.
meetings. Okay.
Yep.
Any further discussion about minutes this morning, Madam Vice Chair?
No, it isn't, Chairman Kitts.
Okay. Any other further discussion about minutes? Okay, great. Moving on, we have approval of the December 2022 financial reports.
Okay.
Ms. Geyer.
Yeah, Ms. Bailey, at the end of the last board meeting, you had a question for me. Did you get my email response? I sent it back in December. You had a question about you mentioned a $1.7 million
Yeah, the
payment.
$1 million that was on the yes.
Yes, and those are just HAP payments to landlords. I went back, you were referring to the October financials, I think, and I went back and I looked.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that your question got answered.
Okay, thank you.
Other than that, to Commissioner Cullins, just so you know, what I normally do when we get a new board member is I'll take you sometime before the next meeting, we'll get together and talk about what all our programs are and how everything's divided up.
I would find that very helpful.
Okay. Just sometime in the next month or so, we can do that.
I'm a quick study, but
Okay,
this is a
yeah,
lot.
oh yeah. But it's a rather routine month, so if anybody has any questions, I'll answer them. I don't have anything to add, except for I did want to point out what our tenant accounts receivable are at this point. For public housing, our tenant accounts receivables at the end of December were just under $82,000. And for locally owned units, and this one is kind of high based on the number of units we have, it's $11,000 basically. And I looked through the details and I see there's a handful of tenants, with the majority of it. It's not widespread among all 51 units, but it's a handful of people who are making it higher. I don't know the specifics of what's going on, but it's not a huge dollar amount, it's just high for the locally owned units.
And this is in reference to the accounts receivables.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably will show up next month then?
Oh, are you talking about in write-offs, or will show up next month? Oh, you mean the money will show?
I guess, will you further explain that to me then?
This is
Just so I can
this
have-
is unpaid rent and other charges on tenants' accounts as of the end of the month.
as of the end of the month.
Right,
Okay.
so through December, every active tenant or a tenant who has moved out that we have not yet approved the write-off for, which there's just a small amount, I believe, this month for that. But the remaining balances on all the tenants' accounts, that's what this snapshot is at the end of December.
Is that
So,
normal for December?
well, it's been so long since we've had normal. I mean, because with COVID, we couldn't.
Right, we couldn't do.
We couldn't do any eviction, so there was a huge spike. So it's way down from the spike, but I would say normally, going back to 2018, 19,
Pre-COVID.
maybe 55,000 would be a normal month for us for public housing. Locally owned, that's usually less than $5,000. So it is higher than what we've seen in the past.
Is the, I know we're kind of just straying into the accounts receivables here, but with the repayment plan that we do have, is that also eligible for our locally owned units?
Yes,
Yes?
yes.
For-
And yes, I know of at least one tenant that we have been reaching out to get a repayment on in the local owned unit. I'd have to double check to see if there are more. But I know we have been reaching out and just hitting and missing scheduling, getting that process started on the one individual that I know of. And his is substantial.
We should be looking forward to this list of residents, tenants, who are falling behind basically of their rent and or charges. I would assume that they would be making payments in January to try to come to some resolve.
Yes.
Okay, we'll circle back to.
How far behind are they on the payments?
Like I said, I personally have reached out to this one individual, and this will be his third month.
So what?
And we tried to reach out to him last month, because the first month you've got 30 days to pay it.
Mhm.
So that flips into, he thought he was going to be able to pay it. Then he turned around and said, okay, I'm towards the middle of the month, he said he's not gonna be able to pay it. Well, he has been trying to catch up because of the holidays and all of that, missing getting the person at that site, as well as getting his money to where he has it. He's been missing and hitting. I spoke to him last week, and he is supposed to come in either the end of this week or beginning of next week to get it taken care of. And his problem is, of course, the holidays hit, and that 10% that he needed down, Christmas. But yes, we do understand, and we have been working with him and trying to get him taken care of. And there may be others. He's the only one that I personally have reached out to, because it got to the amount that it is, because it is one of the larger units. So that is why he got brought to me, and I've been reaching out to him, and like I said, hitting and missing between his work schedule and holidays here, and
So
the
what
fact
does,
that this is the site that right now, at the time frame, the site manager is actually working out of the central office, so that's,
the site manager is working out the central office?
yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Mr. Chair. This is
So,
why,
what's the policy on a tenant who what's the policy on a tenant that has not paid?
At this point,
Mhm.
at this point, if he had not been trying to get the repayment agreement,
Mhm.
we would have already filed for a warrant and already have him on the way to being set out.
So he's just trying to get a payment agreement.
Yes.
How does he get it? He has to come to
He
you
has,
personally?
he has to come bring 10%, yes, he has to come in personally and sign some documents.
Then what's the limitation on that? I mean, how long does it take for him to come
And
give it to
that's
you?
why I reached out, that's why it was brought to me to reach out to him and say, hey, listen, if we don't have it by this date, we're going to go ahead and process.
And he's 3 months behind now?
Yes. Like I said, this is just,
Yes.
January is just his third month.
Let's just see what happens by the end of February, and if not.
No, we're going to, like I said, he says he's going to be soon. It should
Okay.
be this week or next week.
Okay.
And the numbers that I gave you are just totals, but the report I have, which I did not bring here with me, but the report I have actually breaks it down by how much is current, how much is, 30 to 60 days, and then on out from that. So, I mean, next month, I can just give you guys this much of it's current, this much of it, and going all the way over to 120 days and older, and I can break it out that way, just so you can see more of, how it falls.
And ask him for the minimum, just
Yeah.
something to put it down to make it look like he's trying to
The-
do something, the
Part
minimum he can
part
do.
of the time frame falls is when we switch from 14-day letters to 30-day letters. For instance, on the 6th, anybody that owes rent on January 6th, they get a 30-day letter, which means February 6th, their money for January is due. Plus, they've been added the February money. That's where it's falling in, that the amounts get to a point of people go, this just is, now instead of needing a 10% of just January's rent, you now need 10% of January's plus February's.
I got that.
So that's what's happened in this case, and like I said, the holidays did not help.
So take a total, take a total.
Ms. Gill,
Yeah, take a total of what he has and get 10% of all of that instead of trying to get 10% of each month.
That's what we're at. That's what's happened is January's 10%. We added February's, which added at a higher amount.
I got that.
And he thought he had the 10% for January, that kind of deal. Yeah, it just snowballs.
Yeah, as long as you get them excuses, okay.
I was gonna say, that's why we're to a point of he's got to get it.
Commissioner Dr. Dickerson was next.
When I first came on, one of my initiatives was, and also working with the finance subcommittee, is that we provide financial literacy for our residents. So is there any way that I know we can't force people, but I believe that we need to promote what we are offering at this moment, the financial literacy through our programs, so that they'll understand that you got some help here. Let's learn how to budget. Let's do better. And I think we'll start eliminating some of these issues that we have. So can we start moving forward in that area?
That's one of our programs that we're trying to get residents to the resident empowerment, the 19th and 20th of this month. And we're going to continue to have them. We had one last month. That's one of the programs that we're trying to go ahead and put in with that program, so that we can explain more of the financial literacy, get people more on board. Yes, sir.
So, I'll go after Commissioner Dobson.
Okay, Ms. Kim, my question was, I just have a small question. Were the late fees waived in this process?
The late fees have the 11th through the 20th are gone completely. The $50 late fee effective January goes down to $20. So you went from having $100 late fees down to now only $20 late fees per month. This individual would have had $50 applied.
So it's a 2-week span before you clear up everything, as you were saying?
He will not clear it up. He will be doing a repayment agreement, which means part of it will still be on there. It will show that he still owes it. Because once you do a repayment agreement, it does not disappear off the financials.
Right.
It still shows up, so it will still be on that report.
So basically, you do have a deadline, what you said, basically.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
all it is.
Another suggestion could be, if you find a tenant that's not paying on time or always having excuse or issues, when it's time for their recertification, if we can't get them mandatory to sign up for financial literacy, then when they come for recertification, let that be part of the thing and explain to them so we won't have this issue going into the next year with your certification, sign up for financial literacy. How long is the course?
I am not sure, first off, if the ACOP and admin actually allow for that, would have to make an amendment. And I, myself, do not know how long the actual financial course is.
Because we have a self-sufficiency program here, right, that has financial literacy within it, right?
Yes, we do.
Mr.
Okay.
Baker, go ahead.
Right now, we are working on a proposal to send up to HUD National to make us a model agency that will allow us to make those exceptions for zero renters and those that fall behind. We have also partnership with Credit King, I believe, that I have asked them to go and revise their proposal to give them a cost function to that, because I have found out that they do an excellent service. At this particular time, we cannot make our residents take these courses or pursue employment. There's something that something has to be done. Our family self-sufficient programs comes in. The way that we implement it, it's not functional. That's when we have these other strategic partnerships that we're working with willing residents, and those programs have been successful, and we are addressing the financial needs of our population.
Are you saying your financial literacy program has been successful with Credit King?
Credit King has been successful, and they have numbers. They not own the agenda today, but if the board would allow, they can make a 2-minute presentation about their success.
We had her, Credit King, Ms. Roberts already presented some time ago.
Yeah.
But I'm asking you, so she hasn't served any residents here yet?
I understand they have served residents, and so they are giving me a report on that. When I spoke with them, I think 2 weeks ago, asked for a report on that. I have not seen that.
Okay.
It's 2 programs I'm very proud of, Credit King and Ms. Estella Dior.
Yep.
They have done exceptionally well, and both programs have a financial component to it. So an advisory and credit component to that, I am very excited about.
So whenever residents go through the program, let us know, and when they complete, have that report ready for our next board meeting so we can know how they're processing through. It should be on the website. Is Credit King on the Brunswick Housing Authority website so other tenants, residents can know about it?
No, but we can add.
Well, that was one of the issues that I've always mentioned, to advertise and market programs through the website. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Question. I have reviewed, just briefly, the Move to Work program from HUD. And there are a number of policies in there that allow for these type of things to encourage or even mandate gainful employment and financial literacy. I'm wondering, and I don't know the answer to this yet, but I'm wondering if we can explore those to see if those are, even if we're not a part of the Move to Work program via HUD, if it's possible for us to adopt some of those same policies to assist in the financial literacy and or gainful employment for our residents.
Well, yeah, it's possible. The Family Self-Sufficient Program, FSS, is supposed to do that.
Yes, sir, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, but the Move to Work program is it's very progressive.
Yes, it
program,
is.
a very aggressive program. The issue that we're gonna have and that we're finding here is that once residents, like for instance, example, zero renter, and we require them to go into that program, they do not, we make that part of their lease agreement. They do not complete that program with adds to your homeless population if they do not complete. What we have found out is, and what we have found out through Ms. Diora, we walked the property a couple of times there. A lot of not a lot, some of our residents, the zero renters, they have all types of emotional scars, and we got to, they have a lot of, they're in such financial disarray that it is almost, we're almost in a social work on ourselves to go and to address and to build them up and to get them hope. And so a program like that is helpful, but also can be detrimental. It depends on how aggressive the commissioners want to be in making this a transitional housing authority.
So there's got to be a balance there somewhere.
Yes.
That we need that the board and the residents and staff can all agree upon. There's got to be a balance somewhere.
Well, what we're hoping is that through the policy is that we make it part of our mission when they come in. If they don't, someone come in without informing, they would automatically go into a program like that of going participating in our partnership and training and education. So a lot of our programs that we're offering that we have put together since we've been here and putting together the infrastructure will allow some upward mobility and transition and to get some, to start gaining and receiving rent payments. So right now, how we're set up, we really are not, we're doing our residents a disservice by allowing them to stay zero rent and to not provide some upward mobility and being handicapped and handcuffed, I should say. We're doing quite a few disservice by that, and a lot of our policies promote that as well.
So, Mr. Baker.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I would like to see the report of the programs that is already in effect and the residents that are in it, because we're not talking about just the ones who make zero amount of money. We're talking about ones who make minimum wage or whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
And WorkSource and Goodwill have I put across this table many, many times in boards that we have not partnership with yet, will help those handicaps with training and everything else. Everybody's not going to do it, like you said. But we need, I asked for a staff member to be over these programs to give us a monthly update of how they're going and the residents going through them and the ones who are being successful. And we have to I don't know how many times I've said that, but we need to market and advertise these programs on the website and out there in the lobby. So whoever fills out an application and wants to live here, they can see what we're offering. If they walk in the door and don't see what they're offering, they're going to think they're not going to get nothing. They need to come in and see what they offer. Like going into Winn-Dixie, you have the sales paper. You see them, what's on sale. Many times I've said this. We need to advertise these programs so they can know that they're available, and more will sign up on their own without us asking them. I'd like to see that happen sooner than later.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's fair.
Just for clarity, I do believe we already have partnerships with Goodwill and WorkSource.
Well, we never set up with Goodwill because you know why? Y'all wanted to put her in the parking lot, so we need space, and they never connected. And we never connected with neither one. All right.
So I'm still waiting for the motion to approve of the December 22 financial reports.
Motion that we approve the financial report.
I would second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Richardson to approve the December 22 financial reports, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those have the same.
I'll abstain. Shocker. I'll start playing next month.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
we understand.
Did you-
Next up, Executive Director's items, new business. Approval of tenants' accounts receivables classified as uncollectible as of December 31, 2022.
Again, first of all, I want to welcome the new commissioner. Please get with Ms. Damon House so we can go ahead and get you the pocket badge and other identification that we need. Get with our IT with Ms. Hakeem. Have you set up his email yet?
He's already did.
Okay, you set his email, okay. So we want to make sure that that he's well taken care of, and we're excited. This month's receivable is 1,240, write-off. Is 1,247. I resolved that the board approve the write-off of $1,247.
What is that trash fee for? Did you get my email, Ms. Curry, that I sent out last night?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Were you able to find that report?
I have to get with Ms. Dyer in regards to locating it.
Okay.
She was asking about 2017.
The public trash fees for the year is where they left trash and we had to haul it off to dump at that fee.
Ms. Kim.
Oh, Ms. Kim.
Okay, looking at the first persons, you see that there's a $1.50.
Mhm.
That was in from September, before we discontinued those in October.
Okay.
That's what that is from.
Okay.
Is that the only one you were asking about?
It's a miracle because before we were getting pages and pages of write-off. In the last 2 months, we only get 1 and 2. I don't know. I mean,
There weren't as many, we actually had, it reduced the amount of set-outs evictions that we had. And we didn't have as many people turn in their keys. There are 2 that should be here on AMP 3's area, but we had a problem moving them out because there's a technical issue with pet deposits. So we've got that to be, needs to be resolved. It will be resolved and they will show up on next month's.
okay.
Commissioner Dickerson.
Quick question or thought. As I'm riding through the communities, since we're talking about trash, I'm riding through the communities, I'm quite concerned about all the trash that's on the ground. Can we put together a strategy to help with this situation? Because I'm even willing to volunteer and go out there and pick up the trash myself. It's just really, just riding through the community, it's a sore eye for me as a commissioner.
I will tell you, as our resident council person sitting here, they have actually, how many times have y'all been out? They've been out 3 times to help pick up. Our staff, our maintenance staff, we still have not gotten the grounds positions filled. So yeah, we do not have a dedicated staff for that. The site staff is helping 2 days a week to try and help out there. But yes, it is out of hand. There's one area in particular that you can pick it up, and she understands. You can pick it up at 8 o'clock in the morning and go back at lunchtime, and it's back out there. And how we can stop it, all I can say is the residents have to answer that question, because at this point, it's an uphill battle. We've tried charging for it. That doesn't keep them from doing it. You can try, walking through and telling them you need to pick up. Doesn't do any good. Pick up ourselves. Again, you pick it up, half hour later, it's back down. If we could answer that question, it would have already been taken care of as far as I know of.
Well, I know this is a long-term goal, but I think that's why it's important what we're able to focus on, and the remodel and the reconstruction of our properties. I think that will help change.
We need to get the residents more pride in where they live. And that is what we're trying to do with the remodels of the units and trying to get everything where it needs to be. Unfortunately, like I said, she can attest that you do it and turn around and walk past through the community again half hour later.
Now, that's quite frustrating.
You understand that it's most of the time the children control the trash ends up at the park. So what we were working to ask the board if they would do is to let us get the kids involved with that. Maybe it's some kind of stipend or something that we could offer to them to pick up behind themselves or to participate in our trash pickup, which is every other Friday. It starts at 10 a.m. if everybody wants to help out with that.
If we can, it was mentioned before that if we give some kind of incentive for the communities, like a movie, movies, whatever, all paid, some kind of incentive for each community, because listen, if they can't take care of it now and we move them into new property, they're not gonna take care of that. So we have to start now, and I think if we can give them some kind of incentive for them to compete against each community to keep it up. You can do the children, you can do the adults, it doesn't matter, but we have to come up with some ideas and also advertise that, whatever you come up with, something simple, not expensive, an incentive to keep it done. They do it all the time, you know, because we do what we do. Y'all do an incentive for the best dressed Halloween door and stuff like that. Let's do it for keeping the grounds clean, you know.
Vice Chair, could
Yes.
the cameras pick up?
Say that again?
Could the cameras out there pick up and throwing the trash out? Cameras, that's in all these outlets.
Unfortunately, you don't have the staff to keep an eye out on that.
I appreciate this discussion. I think that we've had a great discussion on it. But I need to entertain a motion for the tenants accounts receivable.
Oh, I have two questions on that. What what's the negative rent processing fee? What's that for? Their check didn't go through?
No, that's where someone didn't report income, and when they did an interim, they went back and saw
Okay.
that that person shouldn't have gotten a utility allowance.
Okay. All right. And the maintenance move-out fee, that's just something that
That's
they,
charged, there must have been some damage.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Still waiting for a motion.
Motion to approve.
I second it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the write-offs of tenants accounts receivable classified as uncollectible as of December 31, 2022, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion on this matter?
I just want to iterate, Ms. Kim, I know during the years that's a difficult task with that trash. To your defense, because I know you, as a site manager, you went through a lot. And I know during the holidays, it was even more hectic. So it's an ongoing situation as far as the cameras. They are in effect, but that do not stop people throwing stuff out at nighttime. A lot of stuff is being done at night. We're doing the best we could to try to eliminate this. Some of it's done for people that don't even stay in public housing. So I understand your situation now. We just have to work together to kind of resolve it. It's not an overnight easy thing. I know where you're coming from.
Again, we have a motion and a second on the tenants accounts receivables. Any further discussion on that particular topic? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously.
I'll hop in on that one.
Moving on to discussion items, we have corrective action plan. Is that by you, Mr. Baker?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Before I get into that, I do want to invite the board and the community out to Pace Scholar First Graduation Ceremony. It's going to be held at Tuesday, January the 17th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's going to be at 208 Gloucester Street. I believe it's room C, I believe.
Yes.
Room C. and this has been, and Pace is sponsoring this, is sponsoring this graduation out of their own budget. We have some young ladies, 7 young ladies that's gonna graduate, and it's 9, is it 9? That's gonna graduate. So let's be there and welcome them if we're available.
Can you state that time and date again?
It is Tuesday, January the 17th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And they were all residents?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I believe I have their names here.
That's Gloucester?
Yes, sir. And so we're very proud of these young ladies. They have come a long way, and they're going to continue to grow. And we thank you all so much for participating in the partnership. Moving on to our correction action plan, we got a letter from HUD that we failed our REACT report, I believe back in 2017, I believe, was the last inspection.
This is 2022.
2022, and we got to put a correction action plan together to address those issues. And then, go ahead.
So can you, for the sake of Mr. Cullins, can you give us what that acronym actually stands for, and kind of give us a background of what it is?
Real estate assessment
I
center.
know, but I want to get
That's what it is.
I know, but I want to get, but actually going.
It's what Sharon said.
Yeah, but we're actually going to Inspire.
Well, it's still REACT
Yeah,
in the system though.
Yes,
What does it
ma'am.
stand for again?
Yes, ma'am.
Real Estate Assessment Center.
Real estate
Assessment
And
Center.
it's an acronym,
What?
but the words that make up the acronym
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
even
yeah,
really
yeah.
relate to what it is,
No.
okay, so.
It's essentially HUD's scoring system of our housing authority.
And so we are going to a new system, Inspire, correct?
Yes.
And the REACT system really focus on external. The Inspire is really gonna focus on the entire unit, but majority is gonna be focused on the interior. So one of the reasons that historically what I found out is that I already knew about REACT, but the units have been able to pass because most of the focus has been on the outside and structure and things of that nature. So, but we're changing that as we work. And so what we found out, because our housing stock is such a it's at such a level of substandard, at a substandard level, that we initially approached it from a restoration, but we really are in a complete renovation. And so in doing that, it's taking us a little bit more time to rehab our units, to turn our units around. We do have a few model units that we're moving residents in. We do have to address these are the concerns here first, and we're really tasked with trying to find assistance and contractors. We're looking to borrow maintenance from assistance from other housing authority. HUD has already given us verbal permission to do that. So what you find before you is a correction action plan that we're proposing to attack this issue. And I would turn it over to Kim Alden.
Okay, the paper that basically looks like this one, this is what we need your approval to take to HUD. It is actually a correction action plan. It tells you what the issue was. It tells you what the scores were, what we need to be. If you look, most of the items, we missed it by 1 point. The score that's required is 24 to 40, and just about on everything, it was a 23.
You said most of the scores, we missed it by 1, the physical?
Yes. And one of the things that we've got different issues that were the high items that were ticketed, and Mr. Edward and I have went through, well, mostly he has went through and gotten what they want us to have, the desired outcome, how it needs to be fixed, the remedy, the items that we need to go through and do, and the target dates of when we expect to have these things done. Of course, like Mr. Baker said, we will need to outreach to other housing authorities, get some assistance in the maintenance.
Didn't they ask for this to be back from the date of that letter, which was December the 16th?
December 16th, we have to have this approved and back to them by the 16th of this, of January.
Of this month, yeah.
So if you can look it over and, give us approval on it.
Can I just say one thing, because I see a couple people looking, the overall score for FAS, which this physical score is a part of, is also included in this packet, so don't confuse the two acronyms. I mean, the whole score is on the sheet that is vertically printed out, and that includes the physical, the financial,
76
management. Yes, that's the entire score. That physical part on there, that's what Kim is going into details here about.
That's where we lack, is up there in the physical. The finance is the one that's like only a couple of points off.
Yes.
But the physical is 23 out of 40. The financial is good.
And that's why I said if the physical has to be anywhere from 24 to 40, and we got 23s on everything. And a big item that got hit is like water heater valves, and we got hit for 291 of them. Now these valves have been the same for years. In years past, we got hit for 7.
Okay.
So this scoring system is very subjective. So this guy came in and he apparently likes to look at the water heaters.
It depends on the inspector and what their
exactly.
peeve is. So that's all right.
But we need your approval on these items so that we can get this to our target date, which is the 16th of this month.
When was the inspection actually made?
The inspection was actually done
Last year in
June.
Last year?
Last year in June 2022.
2022.
And we could have appealed some of these items, but because of the transition, there were no appeals filed.
Okay.
Is it fair to say those heaters been in for a while?
2010.
2010. It's been a lot of problems since then, but I know.
This is just because there's a valve on it that, correct me if I'm wrong, should not be there.
There's a gate valve on the TMP valves, thermal and pressure relief valves. It shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be there. And that was the way that they installed it. And it wasn't a problem before with other inspectors, but with these inspectors that came this time, it ended up being a problem. If anybody needs to see a picture of it, I can get you a picture of what they look like.
So is it fair to say it's just the valves itself or the unit?
No, it's not the unit. It's just the valve.
Yeah.
It's just that gate valve is in there. That gate valve wouldn't have been in there, it'd been fine.
And that's caused leaking, right?
No, sir.
No,
it's just something that wasn't.
What they say is a health and safety risk, because should the thermal and pressure relief valve need to be used, there's the possibility that valve could blow off.
Oh, that's okay. I guess
It's what they say. It's more likely to blow off at the joint than it is that valve. So either way, that's what they say.
The inspector's guide, I'm just making this up, but it's this thick with what they can look at. You don't know until they get there what they're going to look at, and so you can't make everything perfect, and the inspectors aren't HUD employees, they're contractors. So you just don't know until you get your inspector there what they're gonna focus on, and once they pick one thing, like these water heaters, then they were on it for every single unit.
Everybody got their pet peeve.
So if it's bad on one, it's for all.
They're gonna look for it on all of them.
They're gonna look for them on all of them. Yeah.
That's serious. Need to be looked into.
Mr. Williams, go ahead.
And just for reference on it, a total on this REACT inspection, total amount of points for one unit averaged to about 1.9 points per unit. A deficiency of those hot water heat valves cost you 1.8 points. So we talking like, what is that, 55-60% of your points for one defect.
Okay.
So it almost puts you off. It puts you almost failing the unit just for that one defect.
Okay.
But historically, it wasn't a problem.
How do you gauge by which units to go in and monitor?
We are going into all of them. In the recovery plan, I will have it in there for us to go into all units throughout the public housing stock and correct that problem.
So that's in process now?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Actually, probably about 70% of Brooklyn homes have been done. I think I did those personally. There's 3 buildings out there that I haven't done. You got about 40% of McIntyre Court that's been done, 40% of Glen Building, and we haven't been in Hopkins Homes. Mercer, Alabama really, not Mercer, Alabama, but Abbott Andrews really doesn't have that issue because their TMP valves were plumbed a little bit different.
But you are going in every unit?
We are going to go in every single unit. And check this.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, we actually started after that react inspection when we got hit so many times for it. We actually started last.
Will the tenants be getting letters to that
You
effect?
got a notice in your, you should have gotten a notice yesterday stating that the inspections are starting and we're starting with the outsides of the buildings. And then we will be coming on the inside of the buildings after the outsides are done.
Just ask them.
But yes, we've started the process to get the things going. Yes.
And so in saying that, I want the board need to be prepared that we are gonna allow overtime, including myself, for staff to come, gonna have to work on weekends to go in and inspect some of these other issues and things out in our entire housing stock, and to address this issue. So we got to get ahead of the problem, not only what they reported, but any deficiencies that we have. So our managers are, we're only asking for volunteers right now, but our maintenance guys, we only have 5-6 maintenance guys, and so there will be some overtime.
How many maintenance guys do you think we need for each community to complete this task without going overtime? Because we're spending an awful lot of money. How many do you think we need to complete it?
To complete this specific task or
yes,
all
each
the tasks
community.
and
but you also have the day-to-day and emergency.
Keep up with the inspections and that.
I'm asking you a question. You've been here the longest. How many do you think we need?
12.
12 maintenance for each community, or 12 altogether?
No. If you had 12, and then
it's 2 for each community.
Each community.
We have how many? Now 6.
No,
5.
No,
6.
Who we got?
Well, does anybody
you only have 4.
You only have 4 if you take the administration.
Yeah, that's right. Right, 4.
We have 4. Yes, ma'am.
Are we understaffed?
Yes.
Always.
So can we reach out to some temporary agencies that deal with people that do this? I mean, or something opposed to overtime and everything, because you know
that you can't leave them in a residence unit
by themselves.
They would have to be accompanied by housing staff in order to.
And that still means you've only got 4. You still only have 4 people. You can't take a temporary staff person and put them in going from apartment to apartment to apartment.
Right.
They have to be with a staff person, which again, short-staffed, it really doesn't do any good.
The site manager?
Okay. We're short-staffed there, but you also have the problem of, don't take this wrong, Sharon.
Huh?
If somebody shows you a shut-off valve versus a
You show me
pressure relief
once.
valve.
You show me once, I can do it.
Can you go in and make sure that it's being done right? That's the issue you have if you take staff
You have to
that's
be
not
actually
knowing,
certified.
not knowing about it.
sure they have
That is why we're trying to reach out to the other public housing agencies to borrow some staff members from them.
Okay.
But if we do that, because they have to keep their properties up you know, we will end up having to use those on the weekends.
But we
Is what
only-
we're thinking.
But we only need them to complete this task
Again.
in 30 days, so.
Yeah, that's why I said, we're looking at doing that.
Okay.
But you still have to, you know, as well as have our guys out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would speed the process up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good idea. Or like a Saturday.
Yes.
That was give some more additional work.
Relative question. Earlier, you guys mentioned that staff is out doing groundskeeping.
Yes.
How many hours and how many staff is that on a average daily basis?
They spend
I was
half
gonna
the
say,
day.
Ed?
Maintenance, we have 5, 6 maintenance. 5, if I go out with them in the contract, it goes out with them in the 6. And it would take us all day long if we excluded Brooklyn Homes. Probably take us 6 hours out of the day to pick up all the communities.
The bottom line.
Yeah, you are spending, maintenance guys are spending even the limited amount they're doing, they're actually spending about 3 hours every day. So that's 15 hours a week. You've got site managers doing it at least 6 hours every week.
Mm-hmm.
You're spending more time cleaning up the grounds than you're actually getting out of the other things that need to get done. And yes, that's again why it's a pressing issue that we have to get this addressed.
Are you hiring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying.
How much you paying them an hour? I mean,
Because
for the
you-
new come-ons, for the ones.
Is Miss House here?
No.
I was gonna say, I'd have to double check with Miss House as to what the starting pay for each job is. But yes, we are hiring.
I haven't seen it, I don't even look at that part.
The problem that we're having is that we're not able to pay competitive wages. And because we're not able to do that, we're not getting the best responsible accountable employees. And so that's one of our issues. I'll give you a great example. We tried to hire a property manager, where when she went back and gave her resignation, they came back and offered her $20,000 more than we were willing to pay. And so we go into where this agency is going into transition housing. We got to look at our wages. So a lot of our employees now are doing double services and things, and then we actually having to cut departments in half, and people having to do double or 3 times the work, or hold down three positions. And so we got a great core. Our property management is suffering. Our Section 8 is suffering. Our maintenance is suffering because we can't find qualified workers, and so we have raised the standard here, and we want to continue to raise that standard, because what you don't want to do is fall back into administration that's not creative, that's not loyal, that's not productive, that's not accountable. And so there are going to be some policies that we're trying to balance this trash in the yard, that we want to do a reward program, but also there needs to be a penalty for that. But we can't quite get there, do the penalty side of it, because our infrastructure is so bad. But that's the reason we have this problem. I would suggest that the board go and visit. Kim, you have a list of some of our some of the remodel units that where we're going. Center for Mercer, which is a 4-bedroom, 24 Mercer, which is a 3-bedroom, 11 Brooklyn, which is a 2-bedroom, 3722 Hopkins Home Annex, which is a 2-bedroom, 50 Hopkins, which is a 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 129 McIntyre is a 3-bedroom, and 86 McIntyre is a 3-bedroom. I would advise that you all, Commissioner Cullen, that you go and look at our existing housing stock and see where we're going. And reason we're going, and one of the things that we need to bring managers in that's not afraid to walk that property, which is another issue that we're having. And that will raise that standard and accountability to our residents, service to our residents. Again, if we address this as the units become available, we won't have these type of issues.
Can we have a list of those units?
Yes. I'll make sure you have that.
Question, and I guess this is a two-parter. I understand we can't allow temporary employees into the units.
Yes.
Is there any way to potentially employ, that's the first part, employ those temporary employees to do our groundskeeping, number one. Number two is, what's that look like for our budget?
Can I go ahead?
No, you go ahead.
No,
I don't even want to talk about the budget.
let me get back to you and right with the budget components of it. What we have found historically since I've been here, when we try to hire groundspeople and things of that nature and try to transition over, they tend to disappear.
Well, I'm not saying for them to be hired on. Literally, today we call the temporary agency and say, we need 3 to 5 people to literally go and pick up trash.
To make a contractor, we get them ID, Kim.
I will tell you, the last time we hired and we were using temporary help to do that, first off, they can't drive the vehicle, so we need to get somebody to drive them around. And second off, we had an incident or two where they were fighting in the vehicle, they were fighting on the ground. They were not interacting correctly with the residents. That is why we quit doing that.
Can you find a temporary agency that's like 4-star, 5-star? And the other thing is this, it used to be where if public housing residents didn't have a job, they had to do community service. So people who are not paying rent, get them to do some maintenance work, and maybe that would draw them.
We can't.
That's a violation of the policy.
That's right. That's a violation of the policy. We can't force them to pick up.
Right.
But can we consider that community service?
No, ma'am, we cannot.
Now,
So
we had,
Okay.
in the past, we did have one thing, just real quick.
Oh, no.
Okay. We had a thing where, we've also had problems hiring people to clean the offices in the past, and we did offer for a while, I don't know why it stopped because I don't remember, but we did have a thing where you could sign up, and for your community service, you could clean the lobby and the front bathroom area of the central office. That went on for a while, but I don't know why it stopped.
And
that would count toward your 8
We have
hours.
started again, since Mr. Baker's been here, allowing residents to come in and do community service cleaning the grounds.
Okay.
To my knowledge, and it's been offered out, it's been put out there, we've had one person volunteer.
So who's following
besides the resident commission.
So who's following them up? I mean, you just can't put them in here and then let them be. Who's following behind them?
But that's what I'm saying, there's only one person.
So this is what we can do. When is our next resident council for the other community? Can I say something though? When we talk about our communities, don't call them stock. That sounds like cattle. We are communities. Okay? I heard you say the word stock. I heard you say the word stock. We are communities. Stock is for cattle.
When they're talking about stock, they're talking about the property itself,
I
not the
understand that.
community,
I
not the
understand.
people.
Inventory.
Okay, but they're communities, not stock.
Inventory.
But, that's, no, community.
It's image.
But
That's what we're
anyway,
responsible
when is the
for.
next resident council for another community to elect resident councils?
I have no idea. We're working with Hopin Homes and Mercedes Hammer on getting them a resident council established. But without their participation and their readiness to help in that process, it's further out.
I'm sorry. They received their charter. They can ask us. We can't ask them. So she started.
That's right.
Say that again?
If you want to ask her questions, you can politely ask her after. We can't do it this way.
Right.
They got their
Because
charter.
they have their charter. That's a separate entity unto themselves and autonomous, so.
But don't they
You
come
can-
to this
you can-
meeting for,
If they want to, if they want to speak, they can speak, but we can't.
Direct question. None of
Right.
it.
We
That's
can't-
rule.
Right. We can't get involved in their business specifically.
I can't ask when's their next community resident council election?
Not for Brooklyn Homes Resident Council. You can speak
You,
to
the
her.
citizen, can ask her afterwards, and I'm sure she'd
Right.
she'd answer.
Right.
You,
But
the
as a commissioner,
can't.
we can't. As a commission, we can't.
Can I see that in writing? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
24 CFR,
What is
Part
it?
964.
What is it?
24 CFR, Part
Mhm.
964.
Part 964.
Mhm.
All right. So, all right, let's move along. So we just have to get this done the best way you can, and then going forward.
Get a resolution approval.
Yeah. So, everyone pretty much had an opportunity to review this corrective action plan.
Can I say something, Mr. Chair? Just want to bring this point up. I want to bring up on the record that we heard Ms. Ogden and Mr. Williams say, historically, this was not an issue until June of last year. I just want to make sure that that is brought up. Yeah, period.
Okay, so y'all gonna do your check marks, and when it's completed, we'll get another report that each one of these line items have been completed and sent by the 16th.
Yes, when I want you to do that, you would get an update of progress, or maybe mid-month. This got to be submitted to them. They would have to approve it.
Go ahead, continue.
And once they approve this plan, then we'll start moving forward. They may come and say, hey, you need X, Y, and Z, and we'll let you all know where we are in this process.
Mr. Williams, hang on, Mr. Williams, you had a.
It's not that each one of these line items have to be done by the 16th. There's a date associated with the date when it should be done by.
The latest is December of 2023. I see that, yeah. So whatever has to be done by the 16th or whatever,
It's just this.
there's just the report has to be
Yeah.
completed by
It
the
has
to be
16th.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, yeah, okay.
Mr. Dobson.
So every
Commissioner Dobson.
month,
Commissioner Dobson, you had, hang on, Madam Vice Chair.
okay.
Commissioner Dobson.
I got to address a question to you, Ms. Kim. On that letter, it also stated that we're gonna be outside work.
Yes, they're going to do inspections of outside. Anything such as tripping hazards, glass, overgrown vegetation, anything that hit this report, they will be looking for missing mortar, those kind of things. They will do an
So,
inspection
what-
of that, they'll take care of those items, and then they will also be addressing the interiors also.
So actually, we talk about infrastructure.
Yes,
on that.
yes. Now, I'm not sure, Ed, as far as if he's going to do outside of a building and then go inside, or if he's going to do all outsides, he's going to schedule how he's going to do that.
Okay,
All right,
that was just pointing to
Yeah.
clarity.
just,
Yes.
just
Madam
let,
Vice Chair, you had a few
yeah,
more statements?
just let us have a follow-up every month of
We
where you're at on
actually
this.
have to report to HUD every month. I'm not sure as far as what date they're going to require, so if it's gonna be the 16th of the month, which may fall after the board, or if it'll be before, but yes, we will update you once we submit our reports to them.
And as these
Yes,
are being completed.
yes,
Yes.
that's what we've gotta do, we've gotta update them. So can we get an approval?
So I will entertain a motion. I will entertain a motion to approve the corrective action plan as submitted by staff.
Motion.
I'll make a motion.
All right, so both of you said it at the same time. Who's gonna be, somebody gotta be
I'll take
second.
that one.
Mr. Dobson, that.
I'll take that one. I'll make a motion over that.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Dobson to approve the corrective action plan as submitted by staff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Do we have any further discussions on the corrective action plan? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed have the same? That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's see, agenda, what's next on our agenda? Are there any reports of committees or commissioner items?
Yeah, I met with Miss Benjamin this week on the HUD vest vouchers. She has 2 more vouchers. We're working on 2 people, 2 veterans that are homeless that needs to be assessed. She's meeting with one of them, because I think last month somebody said we had them all done, but we got 2 left. And we're working on one. She's meeting with one Thursday. We're trying to get in touch with the other gentleman.
Okay.
Any other commissioners' items at this point? Legal matters, do you have any legal matters?
Yes, sir.
Let's see, we are still next, we still gotta do, Gordon Armstrong. Is there anything else on this agenda that we need to accomplish for the Brunswick Housing Authority? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting for the Brunswick Housing Authority.
Oh, I got one. Ms. Curry, next month, can we have our agenda a week before time? And can we have all the items that goes along with the packet at one time and not separately? Because they get lost in emails. I
Only
get
if they mean-
thousands of emails.
So you only want the agenda or the entire packet?
I want the entire packet at one time.
And
Can
we
I
won't
get it at one
a
time?
week.
Huh?
You won't have it a week ahead. Because depending on when the
Okay,
month.
if we can't have it a week ahead of time, I just want all the information that goes into the packet together, the financial report, the police report, the agenda, instead of being sent out separately in emails.
So what you can do is you can consolidate that and then email that once you have it all complete to Madam Vice Chair Bailey. For the rest of us, we may want to go ahead and start considering those documents prior to waiting for the consolidation of the full packet.
And if there's any amendments, would you guys just do it in the meeting?
If there are amendments, then we can do it in the meeting.
But any additions, like the report from Ms. Dyer, just send that separately?
If it's not ready.
If it's not ready to go out when I send it?
So what Madam Vice Chair is requesting is that until you have a consolidated, concise and succinct document,
All information that goes in the packet, the agenda, the financial report.
she doesn't want hers, anything prior to you getting it all together at once.
Well, we used to get it all together at once.
Yes.
We did, okay. We're going back to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, still entertaining the motion to adjourn the Brunswick Housing Authority meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
That motion by Commissioner Dobson to adjourn the Brunswick Housing Authority meeting, seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Do we have any further discussion on the adjournment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those have the same? That motion passed unanimously. We are now moving into our Gordon Armstrong where's that one at? Meeting. I hereby now call to order the So I hereby now call to order the regular meeting for Brunswick Gordon Armstrong, which is our, what is that?
Whispering Oaks.
Whispering Oaks component. I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson
I'll second that motion.
to approve the agenda, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion on the agenda for Brunswick Gordon Armstrong? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, have the same. Abstaining.
Abstaining.
That motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. We have no delegations, old business, we have none. So we have approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on October 12, 2022. I will entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on October 12, 2022.
I motion that we approve the minutes from the Gordon Armstrong meeting of October 12, 2022.
I have a motion by Madam Vice Chair Bailey to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on October 12, 2022. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, have the same. That motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. Executive Director's items, new business. Update on Whispering Oaks.
There's no update. We're still in the process of negotiating with them. That's about to expire.
What's about to expire?
The Whispering Oaks, what are we doing with them at this point?
I don't know. What, I mean, is an agreement signed to redo the tax credit?
No, we have.
I don't.
Our agreement, we're going to acquire management a portion of Whispering Oaks, and so we're still going through that process. There's no really new updates on it at this particular time, so we're going through that process. I'm waiting on the management team to give us a call back, so we can start that process.
Well, I know that we're not.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I know that we're not only seeking to take over the management of Whispering Oaks, but we do have our agreement with Mr. Robinson. What's the name of his company's?
Sepia Transformation.
That's it. To begin to take us back through that re-syndication of the low-income housing tax credit process.
Yeah, but that's a process. I think it'd be a little bit premature to give a report right now. I think that the next meeting we can have an emergency meeting because there's some information that we really need to make sure that we're going to be able to stand on our own, or we're going to have to stand under someone that's covering.
Covering for what?
For the LIHTC, we don't. This age don't have the experience to actually go in to manage that. I'm sorry, I'm confusing the wrath with this. I'm sorry. So I'm not confusing the wrath. So no, we are. I apologize, commissioners. We are talking with them about taking on Whispering Oaks and non-ownership of the management and to rehab that entire property. And so right now, that's kind of what we are.
Aren't we waiting on someone to do an assessment of our properties and communities? Is this the same thing? Or
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We haven't agreed. I got that yet.
Did Mr. Robinson perform that task, or someone from his?
No, Mr. Robinson is going to perform, but I haven't got anything in writing back to him. So it's kind of premature at this time. I know we have some agreements, but I haven't seen anything at this particular time. So until I see it in writing, I really don't want to. I need to be very careful about misleading the board about what's going to happen. I already have the information before me, and so I haven't seen it.
We still.
Do you have it?
Have what?
The writing. I mean the agreement. I know we're contracting him out.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
I believe Ms. Curry has copies of that.
Okay, so we have it. So I haven't.
we still in executive session?
Which
We're not in
one?
executive session, we're in Gordon Armstrong.
Going on, well, you don't have a legal session.
I'm not up to speed.
Executive session.
There's no reason for executive session.
No, oh, I am, I'm just waiting.
Okay, I need to ask Willie at this partnership with the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, then what?
Yeah.
So we don't have an update.
That's,
Then
we
I
already
thought we didn't have
closed
an
that
update.
meeting,
No,
so.
we didn't, because you said that was just for me, but we need to
So
know
at
what
this
the needs
particular,
for
hang
the
on,
partnership.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Dyer.
Okay. Not knowing where we are in the process with any of this, number one, trying to take Whispering Oaks is a tax credit property that we have that is just about to be not in the tax credit property management style.
Yeah.
There is a management company right now running the place, doing a pretty bad job.
Oh, it's excellent.
No.
And we would like to take it back, but we don't have the DCA certified person in-house to do that. But we have somebody who has been trained to do that, who can like somehow unofficially report to somebody outside of our agency, like as their mentor type thing, and they can do that service for us, I think, how that works. But that's just a little aside.
That's
There's
on interim
that.
basis.
But then there's also talk of, because Whispering Oaks needs work, there's also talk of doing the whole re-syndication thing of Whispering Oaks and going back into a brand new thing and do renovations and go back into the tax credit deal. So that's what they're talking about here. In the meantime, the property management company we have is not the greatest in the world.
What's the name of it?
Royal American.
Okay.
We had an earlier company that a few years back, they dumped all of their, they literally dumped all of their smaller properties. They said, we're no longer interested in you. When this contract expires, you're not part of our portfolio anymore. So we put it out to bid. We only had one company willing to run, because Whispering Oaks is a pretty small, so 72 units. It's not that much, and it never has cash flowed. It's just not been great. So we have one company that would do it, and they're out of Panama. The people we deal with are out of Panama City. Whispering Oaks has always been cash strapped, and they continue to be cash strapped. And the only reason I'm even mentioning this now is because they are at a moment where they do not have a lot of cash. The last financials I have are actually through November. I don't have a copy of December's yet. But Kim asked me a question yesterday because there are some units there that need carpeting and they don't have the money to get the carpeting for it. Now, since this is, and a couple years back also, the other remaining partner in this tax credit deal, we bought them out. They didn't want to be part of it anymore. They had, they weren't interested. They were based in Colorado. They weren't interested at all, so we bought them. So we're the only, it's just us. So in the past we have, I'm just telling you what we have done. We have given money to Whispering Oaks to tide them over. We have loaned them money in the past. I'm just putting that out there because I don't know. I know with COVID, their situation was just like everybody else's. Can't evict people, but people aren't paying rent. So, it just made things worse for them, but they are in bad shape. And we have quite a few Section 8 participants at the Housing Authority who live in Whispering Oaks. Mm-hmm. So I just want to put that out there. I haven't seen December's, but November's didn't look that great. And I also got an email from the firm that does the audit and tax returns for Whispering Oaks, and there's an outstanding invoice from like April or so that Whispering Oaks hasn't paid, which, and now the carpet and...
Does that fall on Gordon Armstrong, or does that fall on Royal American?
Royal American. Because Royal American they're the property management, so they have a property manager and maintenance, in theory, over at the property. But also in the Panama City office, they take care of all of the administrative functions, also all the reporting functions for tax credit property, and then all of the bill paying and financials and other reports that have to happen. So I'm just putting that out there.
Just
for information.
We're so happy you are glutton for punishment, just like the rest of us.
So excited to be here.
Yeah, again, I know there's a lot that's gonna be going on, so be sure to, reach out to me, call me, whatever, we'll sit down, have lunch, scotch, and see what we can. Yeah, we'll see what we can, communicate as much as possible. So, my question, again, this may be a premature question, but going through the re-syndication process with Whispering Oaks, taking it back into that low-income housing tax credit, LIHTC, that's the acronym. That will allow us to make repairs, and hopefully not cost the housing authority or Gordon Armstrong a substantial amount of
Right,
money.
but the timing of that's what I don't know. I mean, I wasn't sure about the timing of the removing the management company, because that solves half of a problem. I mean, you're still gonna have costs, but it because we also, we pay for the payroll of the two people who are Royal American employees, the property manager and the maintenance, but we also pay them a $2,000 a month, $2,200, somewhere in there, management fee. So that would go away, but then what other responsibilities would fall on whoever we have here? I mean, it would be another employee. I mean, we'd have to hire, a property manager and a maintenance person, and so and I don't know, with them being short on cash, I don't know if that's going to turn around, because we're dependent on them getting the information to us.
So we're paying for two maintenance people.
A maintenance person and a property manager.
Well, two persons, two
Yeah.
staff persons, and
And
an
a
additional
management fee.
monthly management fee. Jesus.
Well,
Okay.
Well, let's not be misled. You can go through to the office and see the lack of maintenance, and I'll walk a couple of those buildings. So again, you're not looking at renovation, you're gonna be looking at restoration.
Right, which if
It's
the
gonna-
last administration told us that was gonna easily be over $1 million.
Yes.
Easily.
That was a
Easily.
30-minute walkthrough.
And that was a 30-minute.
Yeah, I mean, that was a quick.
So that was a great assessment.
Yes.
Okay.
And so,
The reason I brought it up to Ms. Sharon was because of the fact this Section 8 person has failed 2 inspections already. And in the time frame that's allowed. That is why it needs to be addressed sooner than later.
Let me just see if I got this clear. So we have a resident as a part of our Section 8 or Housing Choice Voucher, HCV, program that is residing in one of our properties.
yes,
And that property is failing inspection.
yes.
That's Whisper.
Yes.
Whisper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, just want to make sure that was, so can you reach out to Mr. Robson? I know that even going through this LIHTC process, generally, we are hoping that the bond funds that need to go through, that comes out, hoping that they come out sooner than later. I think they're generally by October. But and even then, we won't know until what, January or February of next year, if we got awarded that process, through that process.
Can we
So
talk?
can you reach out to Mr. Robinson and see where he is in that?
In that
And
process?
we'll need to definitely have some sort of
I would ask for an update.
physical assessment
Yes.
on it, so we can actually see what is wrong with those facilities.
And he is going to do that at no cost for us.
Yeah, I think that was part of his,
Yeah, yeah.
part of the contract with him, was either no or very, very little cost to the housing authority for this process.
So are we saying that her unit individually, his or her, failed the inspection twice?
Yes.
What are the specifics?
The
What
specifics is the carpet. That there is no carpet in the unit
Okay.
at all.
When they
That
do-
is the specific that I got told about.
When they remodeled Whispering Oaks, did they place carpet in there? Was carpet placed in there when they remodeled it?
As far as I know, carpet is only replaced as an as needed basis. Unless, was there a widespread, I don't even know, a widespread carpet replacement over there? I don't know.
See, the part of Whispering Oaks, I'm not familiar with because of the fact that I was site manager at that point and it was a totally separate entity.
So
What I'm understanding is, and this may be, this is only what I'm understanding from people that have been trying to move in. They replace the carpet as they go ahead and move in. So if the person had a problem with the carpet, they pulled it up and they did not necessarily replace it while the current person was living there. I'm not saying that that's true, that's what I've heard. Like I said,
Excuse me. I'll let people know when they can speak.
that would be the unknown question. I'm only going by what I'm being told by people that have tried to move in. I know that there are units I have seen that have new LVT flooring down. But then this person here, the Section 8 inspector, is telling me that there has been no carpet in this unit since she tried to take it in, it was in October that she tried to do the first inspection, and then in December. So she's been that long without carpeting.
So is there where is the paperwork to say what was put in those units when they were remodeled to find out if carpet was originally put in there or whatever? But,
Question on that. I understand what Madam Vice Chair has asked. So, how long ago, Whispering Oaks was approximately 15-year-old property, am I correct?
but
More than that,
it was
closer to
remodeled
20.
recently in the
Yeah,
last
closer to
10,
20
5
now.
years.
It's what now?
Closer to 20.
Yeah.
20?
Yeah.
It ended the 15-year tax credit a
Okay.
few years ago when you all bought out the other.
When we bought out the other. Okay, so, and I'm assuming, and this is just for clarity, do we know if this property has been refurbished or rehabbed as a whole
It was.
within that?
I don't.
I'm
I'm
not
unaware of that.
They were.
I'm not aware of anything, and I've been here since 2006, but like I said, I've been in a totally different
Yeah.
so I don't know.
That means you
Can,
can start.
can we get some paperwork? Because they were remodeled. I think about 5, 10, 7 years ago, they were remodeled. Whispering Oaks was remodeled.
Who's
So
responsible
is there
for
any
remodeling?
paperwork where we can find this
The
history
management
on
company.
it?
Management company,
The management company?
yeah.
And they
Okay, so-
affiliated with us?
We
pay them.
We hired them.
We hired them.
So,
Yes.
we don't know if there was some sort of remodel or rehab that occurred within the last 5 to 7 years.
If we can find some paperwork, on the history of it, we can.
Either way, it still needs to go through this process, or it's going to end up costing the House Authority substantially.
Do we have anybody to do a follow-up on their progress?
On the
units itself?
A follow-up.
Follow-up
For
of
the
what?
carpet. You say you hired some people, right?
No.
They-
The management company.
The management company is in charge of when somebody moves out, the management company is responsible for getting it ready for the next person to move in.
Right.
And what I'm being told from people that are trying to move in is that it is not being
Insufficient?
correct. It's not sufficiently being done.
Because when the tax credit property was built, there was no one on staff at the Housing Authority with the required certifications to be able to manage a tax credit property. You have to have certain experience and training and certification to do that. So we outsourced it, which I think is fairly common, outsourced it to a management company to do that. The entire time that I've worked here, it has been, as far as the housing, that's why we have our board meetings for Whispering Oaks every quarter instead of every month, because it's basically hands off, except for the executive director is the person who works with the management company to do this or to do whatever is done there. Almost no staff involvement from the housing authority with Whispering Oaks whatsoever, short of loaning out a maintenance person to go help when they're shorthanded in maintenance. And that's how that's been managed.
And it's
since
still
day one.
costing us.
Yeah. I would dig up some documents and get a history on it to bring us up to date of when.
Well,
it
that's
was
the
last.
problem. Documents from where? Because the management company would, I have some stuff from before I inherited a file cabinet full of stuff that I don't even know what all's in there. That was all before. It's not after it opened. Every bit of information from the day it opened forward would either be with the former management company, I don't know what they gave to the current management company, or with in a file cabinet in this building that I'm unaware of that was.
And even if I think we should, we passed that now, because if we have Section 8 people living in there, then we need to be responsible for the upkeep of their apartments, so we should have some documentation.
Well, there's documentation of all the inspections that have been done of all that.
I understand that, but what I'm saying
Madam
is,
Vice Chair, we can't specifically say we're gonna take care of Section 8 persons
Without the other.
without everyone else as well.
but let me finish making my point. My point is, since we do have Section 8 people living in there, we need to be knowledgeable of when the last renovation took place and how they are taking care of their needs, replacing carpet, furniture, whatever, appliances or whatever. That's all I'm saying. And then we can go from there and see where we go from there. That's all. Not excluding anybody, but I just said that since we personally have Section 8 people living over there.
I think I understand what Mr. Kitts is saying. We can't do for that
I'm not
management
saying that.
company that we can't do for S&S Realty or
That-
any
that-
other realty.
Right, that's not what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
what
just
he
saying,
said.
since we have
Okay.
Section 8 people in there, we need to be knowing how they're living and if they're living by safety and cleanliness and everything.
that's why the
While
Section 8
including the
inspections
other
happen.
people.
And I'm not saying that there's not anything here. I'm unaware of anything here because I don't know what communications were done between the former ED and the management company. I have no idea. She might have a complete file with everything in it that was ever done. I don't know because it was never discussed with me.
You don't know if she took everything. Okay.
Mr. Hartman, moving forward, will you take a look at the management agreement for Whispering Oaks and provide us with some additional options of what we potentially can do to facilitate management at Whispering Oaks? I think that's the right course of action.
Right. I think so too.
For that. I mean, we own the property, it's just our management out there. I know that we're still trying to go through the LIHTC process. I'm not sure how all that management comes together, but I think that the board needs some options as far as the management of the property is concerned, of what we can and cannot do.
Right, and how to hold the managers accountable.
Mhm.
for
Yes, sir.
Failing to do their part, right? Yes, sir.
Thank you for the update on Whispering Oaks. We'll look forward to a report from, or advice from council. Any reports of committees? Any commissioners' items? Any legal matters?
Yeah.
With Brunswick, Gordon, Armstrong.
No, sir.
I have a question to that in particular. Madam Vice Chair wants to have a conversation with the board for business dealing with Brunswick Housing Authority, which we've already had our meeting for that. How do we go back in, can we go back into that meeting after we have adjourned that meeting?
You've adjourned it, so, yeah, the public's on notice that that meeting was adjourned. I think you'd have to advertise and have that meeting again.
So we would have to have a special call meeting for the topic that Madam Vice Chair wants to discuss that has some concern with the Brunswick Housing Authority.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so let's, so we have no legal matters with Brunswick.
Because we already had that meeting that the public was on notice about, and then we adjourned.
Oh, I thought we would take this one to executive session, because in the past, anything I asked about the Boys and Girls Club was told to have it in executive session. So that's what I'm saying, to have it in executive session, not an open public board meeting.
Right, and I think we could have done that during the Housing Authority
Okay.
meeting. We could have you all could have voted to go into executive session, and we could have talked about anything that would have been proper in a closed meeting during that time that we had the Housing Authority meeting. But I think because we adjourned it, anybody in the public would have known that that meeting had concluded, and so you all could have a specially called meeting, or next month we could address it in executive session. I think those would be the two options to address your concerns.
Okay, I'll ask the, Mr. Baker at the meeting. Okay.
Brunswick, Gordon, Armstrong. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dobson to adjourn the Brunswick Gordon Armstrong meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same. All these meetings now are stand as adjourned. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.